Sir Henry Norman once said, "The very best way to lengthen the day is to steal a few hours from the night." It seems that many people today are taking his advice, with an estimated 4 out of 10 Australians being regularly sleep deprived, and the toll that inadequate sleep takes on our health and well-being is devastating. Hi, I'm Dr. Darren Morton, and I've been studying the secrets to health and wellness for over 30 years. We're about to explore why sleep is so essential for us to be physically energised and mentally alert. We'll also speak with a renowned sleep expert and participate in an experiment to see how sleep, or lack thereof, affects our memory. Sleep is a bizarre behaviour. We rush around all day like we don't have a moment to spare, and then lie down motionless for hours on end. While there are still many things that we are yet to learn about sleep and its function, what we do know is that adequate sleep is imperative for our physical and mental wellness. Recently, a fascinating experiment showed how lack of sleep affects our brains. In fact, let's try this experiment for ourselves now. I'm going to put a group of words on the screen for 10 seconds. See how many of them you can remember. Okay, how many words could you remember? You can write them down if you like. We're going to come back to this later, but first I'm off to talk to a renowned sleep expert about the importance of sleep. Most patients, if you ask them, would want a room with a view, but where we're going, there are no windows. Because that's where Dr. Paik creates the perfect environment for studying people at sleep. Here, in the quiet halls of the Adult Sleep Laboratory, she conducts research on circadian rhythms, sleep and sleep disorders.
One of our main sleep hormones is melatonin. It peaks when we go to bed and then it's low during the daytime. So a couple of hours before we go to bed, we usually have an increase in the amount of melatonin. So blue light and bright light can suppress the amount of melatonin we have and the amount of melatonin we produce. So looking at TVs and electronics, phones, tablets can sort of dampen the amount of melatonin we have and make it harder to fall asleep. So this test will help us determine how quickly you can fall asleep, and then if you fall asleep and what stages of sleep you get into. So these ones on top of your head measure your brain activity.
I'm hoping you find some brainwaves.
We will for sure. And then the ones next to your eyes help us to measure your eye movements. And then we'll put some on your chin, which will also help us to measure your muscle tone. And when people go into rapid eye movement or REM sleep, they have a decrease in muscle tone. So we can detect that with these ones too.
You have 2 peaks in your circadian cycle.
Yes, a main one in the morning and then a slightly weaker one in the afternoon. Now we're going to get you to lie nice and comfortably and we'll turn the light off and we'll try and get you to fall asleep.
It's a hard life, but someone's got to do it. I'll do my best for you.
So when people don't get enough sleep, we know it impacts our cognitive functions. So we have slower reaction times, we have more difficulty making decisions, our memories are poorer, so it's harder to remember things. And it can also affect our emotions and our mood as well. So people might be a little bit more touchy. We also know it affects our general health. So a decreased amount of sleep is being associated with increased risk of developing cardiovascular diseases, things like diabetes and having heart attacks and strokes as well. Here he's starting to fall asleep, so we can see that his eyes are slowing down and we're getting slow rolls, and then there's a change in the EEG pattern as well. And then here he's woken up a little bit, so you can see the difference in the waves here to these ones over here.
Excited by the fact that I actually have brainwaves, because there's been some debate in my household about whether they exist or not.
You can rest assured, you can go home and say that you definitely have some brain activity. There's no question about that.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. I find it fascinating. I think it's an area of health and wellness that's just not valued as it should. We talk about food and movement lots.
Yeah.
But sleep is something we all need.
It is, and it's something that we all do. So I think it really is important to consider it as an extra pillar of our healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it is a pillar.
Yeah.
So sleep is kind of like a superpower. It allows our body to regenerate and repair itself, as well as giving our brain time to rearrange the millions of pieces of information that we're exposed to each day. Now, let's get back to our memory experiment and see what the scientists learned from it. Now, when the sleep scientists used this experiment, they found that people tended to remember more words when they're well rested and less words when they're sleep deprived. Now, that's hardly surprising. But what is surprising is the influence of our sleep status on the kind of words we remember. Now, take another look at the words I asked you to remember. You can see that some of these words are positive, some are negative, and some are neutral. The researchers found that not only did the participants tend to remember fewer words when they were sleep deprived, they were 2.5 times more likely to remember the negative words. So insufficient sleep can cause us to focus in on the negative, which can put us on a downer. There is no doubt about it. Getting enough sleep is imperative for our physical and our mental health. So, don't eat too late. Try to limit the use of technology at night. Make sure your sleep environment is the most comfy place on the planet and aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Sleep really is a superpower.